Sawadee ka! Today, I'm going to show you how to make green milk tea using Moka pots. Now, this tea is quite popular, so this is what we are going to cover today. And if you haven't yet seen my previous video tutorial on how to make Thai milk tea using Moka pots for your Moka pot cafe, do check it out as well. For the green tea, I am going to use this local green tea from Thailand. The brand is Chao. If you're going to brew green tea using Moka pots or the espresso machine, the consistency of your tea should be fine, so very fine like this one. If you don't have finings and you have just green tea leaves, I suggest you give it a spin in the blender for a few seconds until you get the finings, and you can use the same process which I'm going to show you here today. If you're making per cup for iced green tea, then I would suggest that you use 3-cup Moka pots. If you're making large batches, so say if you have a few people in the queue and you need to make 2-3 cups at a time, then I suggest that you use a larger cup. So I have here 6-cup Moka pots. I have here a 4-cup bricka, which is equivalent size. When you batch brew your green tea, you can keep the brewed tea in the refrigerator for 7 days. The only problem is that as it stays longer in the refrigerator, the aroma diminishes. So I would say make a batch at least every 3 days, and that should be enough. If you would like to show this as a craft, and your customers can actually see how their tea is being made, then I suggest that you brew it per cup. So we're going to do this in 2 steps. One is the per cup and the other is using the larger Moka pots. For the ingredients, I'm going to use my green tea from Thailand, and this is already in finings. And we are going to use sugar, we're going to use creamer, and I'm going to use my milk syrup, which is a combination of sweetened condensed milk and evaporated milk. So I make them in advance so that when I have a queue, it'll be faster for me to add the milk syrup into my drink. We are going to make 2 cup sizes, 16 and 22. Let's start by making our first cup, which is for 16 ounces. For this, I'm going to use a 2-cup bricka, which is equivalent in size to a 3-cup Moka Express. Fill up the boiler with water to just below the pressure valve, and there is a line indicated here, so stop right there, which is about 150 milliliters of water. And then I am going to fill my basket with 1 tablespoon of green tea. So this is a heaping tablespoon of green tea here. And what you do is you can just use a stirrer to distribute the tea evenly. So note that I'm using room temperature water here, but if you'd like your tea to brew faster, you can use warm water, especially if you have a queue forming in front of you. Now, we're going to lock the pot on. Make sure it is securely fastened, otherwise you'll have leakage on the side. And now we are going to put it on our hot plate. This process should not take any more than 3 minutes, so if you have a few customers, then you can prepare the next batch in another Moka pot. The intention here is to make sure that you get all the water that you put in the boiler to come up into your pot. So if you're not sure if it has completely brewed, then put it back on the heat, just half, so that it doesn't sputter all over the place. But I would like to see how it goes. Can we get any more? See that there's more coming out there, and it is spuriously coming out now. Close it just to make sure it doesn't sputter all over me. And there you go, you have your brewed green tea. And now let's see how much is the yield. We started with 150 milliliters to 180 milliliters of water, and it's up to about 150 milliliters. And now to assemble the drink. I have here good enough for a 16-ounce cup. I'm going to add my sugar, creamer, stir so that the powdered ingredients are completely dissolved in the hot green tea. I can tell you it's smelling really, really good. And I'm going to finish it off with my milk syrup. Wow, it smells like a delicious green milk tea here. Pour into a cup of ice and finish it off with milk foam. If you haven't yet seen how to make milk foam, do check it out. Now let's make our 22-ounce cup. For the 22 ounces, I am going to use my Brew tea, and the yield is about the same. It's about 125 to 150 milliliters of Brew tea. And to this, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of sugar and an equal amount of creamer. Next, add the milk syrup. I'm going to use 4 pumps, which is about 40 milliliters. Each pump is 10 milliliters. Pour into a cup of ice and finish it off with milk foam. And this is your 22 ounces iced green milk tea. Next, let's look at how to batch brew your green tea. So for this, I'm going to use a large moka pot. This is a 4-cup briquette. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double the proportion that we use for a 3-cup moka pot, and I'm going to fill this to the level indicated in the boiler. So that would be about 300 milliliters of water in the boiler. Okay, so a little bit more. There you go. And then I'm going to fill the basket with 2 tablespoons of tea. And if you have a coffee stirrer, just stir. Put it in the boiler. Make sure that your gasket is wet, so I just use a spray here. This is to ensure that there's no leakage. Now make sure that you lock the pot on properly so that there's no leakage. And now I'm going to put it on my hot plate. So whilst I'm waiting for that, I'm also going to prepare my other moka pot. This is a no brand moka pot. So similar process. I like to put it there. So I'm going to fill my boiler and then to fill my basket with 2 tablespoons of my green tea. I'm just going to distribute it evenly using a coffee stirrer. Put it in the boiler, and I would like to make sure that my rubber gasket is wet. And if you're so inclined, if you'd like to have a little bit more regulated flow, because this is a 6-cup moka pot, I'm going to use a 6-cup filter. This is entirely optional, so I'll just put it there. And once again, make sure it's wet. Lock the pot on. The moment you see the tea coming out, wait about halfway, then take it off the heat. I'm going to put this one on the hot plate. And you can see this beautiful brew of jasmine green tea. Now, because it's stopped, I'm going to put it back on the hot plate and wait for all the water to come out into the pot. So the objective here is to make sure that all the water that you put in your boiler should come up to the pot. Okay? So now I'm taking it off the heat. So I'm going to put the other moka pot on the hot plate. How do you know that the brewing process is complete? Well, the sound will stop. Now let's take a look at the yield. We started with 300 milliliters of water in the boiler, and let's take a look at how much is the yield. And you actually have 300 milliliters of brewed tea. So this is your batch, which you can use for brewing later. Okay, so see that it's now full. I think it's now completely brewed, and you have here a very full moka pot. So earlier we came up with 300. Let's find out how much is this. Oops. And it's also nearly 300. Well, there you have it. Now you know how to batch brew and how to brew your green milk tea per cup. All the recipes are in my book, All Things Milk Tea. This book is also now available in print copies on Amazon, so do check it out whenever you can. In the meantime, don't forget to click that subscribe button for more of these video tutorials. Take care, stay safe. Thank you for watching. Ciao for now.